I'll give you another case. It's a case of Cyra Cahill. Cyra is 5 years old, or she's turning 5 next week. She has epilepsy, she's an eating disorder, and she's autistic with a PDA profile. And the failure of Cyra is, in a way, like, Cyra's been failed so many different ways, and I'll go through some of them. And it encapsulates all the different ways that children, vulnerable children, children with additional needs, children with disabilities are failed by the state every single day. And like, ultimately that comes down to a political choice to choose to fight for the rights of Apple, to fight for the rights of big multinational corporations, as opposed to fighting for the rights of these children. Her mother, Charlotte, makes the point that from the very start of Cyra's life, she's been failed by our state and our leaders. She was born at 37 weeks. She had some complications arising from birth. 6 months on, her mother was contacting the public health nurse, looking for assistance, relating to not sleeping, being extremely sensitive, never stopping crying, etc. The only help that her mother was given at that time was being given an online parenting course. Fast forward to when Cyra is 18 months old, her mother is very worried that she has regressed. She's worried that there's something serious happening. She goes and she's told by the state not to get her hopes up, that this can take years, and advised, exactly like Ciara says, advised that if she can afford it, to go private. Charlotte then goes private and is failed there. She's ended up being assessed by a psychologist who is a fraud and recommends medication that almost kills her child. Then they have Cyra's assessment of need. Her mother says, then I was ecstatic. I thought, yes, this is when she'll start to get what she needs. But Charlotte says, little did I know, this was only the start of the rodeo. She finds out that the assessment of need was done incorrectly, and then is told that Cyra was put on a waiting list to be reassessed. She's brought in again got nothing, and then another assessment also found out to be completed incorrectly because it was only being done by a psychologist. That goes up to this year in April. She's gone down the legal route and she finally gets assessment of need. Now she's awaiting the report. 6 weeks pass. Nothing from the CDNT, no assessment of need, but that she knows that school applications are opening and she doesn't have a report to support her school applications. She cannot wait that long, and she pushes and she gets a service statement. The service statement says that Cyra will get services in October 2026. That means her file may be opened, she may be offered so-called early bird course. At that stage, she's been looking for assistance effectively since her daughter was born. At that stage, Cyra will be 8. There's 52 mistakes in the report. She doesn't have a cognitive assessment in the report, which means that the vast majority of schools will simply not look at her assessment. She's applied to 32 schools this year with no success. Now with her updated report, she meets the criteria for only 4 of those schools. She's had 2 CAMS refusals, 2 home care package applications refusals, and now says she's effectively locked out from the private sector too, as the therapist keeps moving. I'll stop because my time is up, but I could go on in terms of the way that Cyra is being failed by this state. That ultimately is a political choice. And the final thing I'll say, we're obviously weeks away from a general election being called. This government promised again and again and again you would ratify the optional protocol to the UN CRPD. You really better do it, or you'll be letting families like Cyra's down extremely badly.